Cousin Thick in the building.
Hello.
All right, that's it.
That was it.
That's it.
That's it.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Have a great life.
Have a good one now. All right. Yes, best intro ever. All right, guys. Welcome to our, what are we doing here? NBA. Welcome to our NBA video here today for Sunday, April 11th. My name is Brock Page, and I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. And despite coming off a pretty lackluster day on my Patreon website, we're still hitting at 67% in our last 15, $1.99 daily best plays on that Patreon page. We're also still hitting at over 71% in our last 35 extra daily pick tier package plays on that Patreon page as well. We currently have over 1,275 members who are signed up and active on that site. And if you want to see which one of these YouTube picks I'm actually betting on personally, link for that Patreon page is in the description section below. Once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. I guess if you guys want Cousin Thick's Instagram handle, I guess I can include that in the comment section. Only if you're interested, though. She's got a very good Instagram, very good modeling pictures. So anyway, guys, moving on. We're going to take a look at the Celtics versus the Nuggets, 3 o'clock Eastern start time. The Denver Nuggets are -7, totals 221.5. And if you like Boston in an upset on the road here, they're plus 240 on the money line. Now, 2 out of Boston's leading scorers may not play here today. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are both listed as questionable for this afternoon's action. Now, Evan Fournier, he's also still out for Boston as well. The Celtics have failed to cover the point spread in 4 out of their last 7, and they really they kind of get off to slow starts early in games. Boston's in the bottom 10 in first quarter scoring, bottom 10 in second quarter scoring as well. Meanwhile, defensively, the Celtics tend to struggle late in games also. They're in the bottom 5 defensively in third quarter points allowed on the road. They're also in the bottom 10 in fourth quarter points allowed as well. They're taking on a red-hot Denver team who is on an 8-game winning streak right now. They're also 12-2 straight up in their last 14. Now, the Nuggets have been prolific offensively this year. They're in the top 5 in the NBA in scoring, top 3 in offensive field goal percentage. They also hit 40% of their three-pointers. And despite the potential absence of Jamal Murray here today, Nikola Jokic, he's scoring over 26 points per contest, 10 rebounds, 8 assists for the Joker. Meanwhile, Michael Porter Jr. scoring 17 points a night himself, along with 7 rebounds. The Nuggets have also played pretty sound on the defensive end of the court. They're in the top 3 in defensive rebounding, top 10 in points allowed. Now, total-wise, 4 out of Denver's last 7 stayed under the line, throwing out Friday's game against San Antonio. Meanwhile, on the Boston side, not really sure who's going to score for them if their top players sit this one out. The Celtics also saw 7 out of their last 8 ball games stay under the line as well. I'm actually going to lean toward the Denver Nuggets -7 and the under 221. Let me reposition here because we really can't even see the games here. All right, I think we're good to go. All right, next contest, it is going to be Pelicans versus the Cavaliers, 7 p.m. Eastern tip-off. Now, the Pels are -6.5, totals 228 flat. New Orleans lost 4 out of their last 6 ball games, 2-4 against the number in those contests. Lonzo Ball's out. Hart and Alexander Walker are still out indefinitely as well. Now, the Pelicans have really struggled to get the W on the road this season. Out of their 24 road games, they've actually picked up the W in just 8 of them, and that's good for just 33% in that particular category. Now, New Orleans gives up just way too many points. They're dead last in defending the 3 ball, bottom 5 in points allowed. The Pelicans let their opponents make a staggering 42% of their three-pointers when they travel. They're taking on a Cleveland squad who won 2 out of their last 3 themselves. The Cavaliers have also done a really nice job getting defensive rebounds. They're in the top 10 in defensive rebounding at home. Colin Sexton is scoring over 24 points a game, 2 rebounds, 4 assists for the starting guard. Meanwhile, Darius Garland is scoring over 16.5 points a game himself. 2 rebounds, 5 assists for Garland. Cleveland's in the top 10 in the NBA defensively in fourth quarter points allowed. And when it comes to the total on this one, Cleveland's last 4 straight actually did get over the posted number. 13-12 to the over at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Meanwhile, 4 out of New Orleans' last 6 got over the line themselves. 34-18 to the over for the entire season. I'm going to lean toward the Cleveland Cavaliers plus 6.5 in the over 228. All right, next ball game. It is going to be Bucks versus the Magic, 7 o'clock East. The Milwaukee Bucks are minus 8.5. Totals 224, juice to the over. As bad as the Magic are, we're looking at a Milwaukee team who's been awful against the number when traveling. The Bucks have covered just 9 of 26 road games, and they currently find themselves in the middle of a 3-game losing streak. Now, Milwaukee's also dropped 6 out of their last 10, and they went just 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 as well. Giannis Antetokounmpo is doubtful for today. Probably not going to see him in action. PJ Tucker, he's been also ruled as out as well. Now, Lopez, Holiday, Middleton, and DiVincenzo, they're all listed as questionable as well. So the Bucks kind of banged up here a little bit. The Bucks are in the bottom 3 in defending the 3-ball on the road, and they allow over 115 points per contest when they travel. They also let their opponents hit 40% of their 3-pointers away from home as well. They're taking on a Magic team who, for as bad as they are, and believe me, they're not a good basketball team, but believe it or not, they've actually done a really nice job covering the point spread lately. They're 7-2 against the spread in their last 9 ball games, 15-12 against the number at the Amway Center. Terrence Ross is averaging over 16 points a night, 3 rebounds, couple assists for the guard. Meanwhile, Dwayne Bacon scoring double digits a game for Orlando, along with 3 rebounds as well. Now, Orlando's been pretty good shooting the 3-ball at home. They're in the top 10 in home 3-point percentage, and they're also in the top 10 in home offensive rebounding. And when it comes to the total in this one, Orlando saw 3 out of their last 6 stay under the line, throwing out that Washington game. They also saw 7 out of their last 10 meetings with Milwaukee stay under the total as well. Meanwhile, the Bucks saw 3 out of their last 6 stay under the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward the underdog, Orlando Magic, plus 8.5 in the under 224. Next ball game, it is going to be Pacers versus the Grizzlies, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Memphis Grizzlies are minus 3, totals 233 flat. And if you like the Pacers in an upset victory on the road here, they're plus $1.30 for some money line cash. And I'll tell you what, as bad as they've been in many different spots this year, we are looking at an Indiana team who's won 3 out of their last 4 ball games, starting to put it together a little bit here. And they also do a pretty good job getting the W on the road. Indiana currently has a winning road record, and they also score nearly 115 points a game when they travel. Now, Malcolm Brogdon scoring 21 points a game, 4 rebounds, 5 assists for the starting guard. Meanwhile, Domantas Sabonis is dropping nearly 20 a game himself, 11 boards and 6 assists for Sabonis. The Pacers are currently in the top 3 in the NBA in road fourth quarter scoring. Now, they're taking on a Memphis squad who, unfortunately, they currently have a losing record on their home court. Certainly not a good statistic there if you're a Memphis backer. Now, Winslow and Melton, they're listed as out. And Porter is questionable with a knee. The Grizzlies are in the bottom 10 in home scoring. They're also in the bottom 10 in shooting the 3-ball at the FedEx Forum. The Grizzlies scored just 109 points a game as the official home team. Now, total-wise, 3 out of Memphis' last 5 stayed under the line, throwing out the New York game. They're also 17-9 to the under at home. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, 5 out of Indiana's last 8 stayed under the total themselves. So I'm actually going to lean toward the underdog Indiana Pacers plus 3 and the under 233. Next ball game, it is going to be Raptors versus the Knicks, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Actually, speaking of the Knicks, I think Cousin Thick was dating a New York Knick here for about a hot minute. Is that true? Yeah, she's saying nothing. She's pleading the fifth, but she definitely did. It's totally true. But anyway, the Knicks are minus 3. Numbers 216 flat.
He's
The Knicks.
sending me one of his jerseys. I'll have
He's sending you a jersey.
Yeah, I'll have to wear it on the show.
Okay. It's an anonymous guy until we get the jersey. Once we get the jersey, we will confirm that Cousin Vic and Player X went on a couple dates. I can confirm that, by the way. But anyway, the Knicks successfully covered the point spread in their last 4 straight, 70% against the number in their last 10. Now, the Knicks have played really well at MSG this year. 600 win percentage as the official home team, 60% against the spread in those 25 home games. Julius Randle is scoring over 22.5 points per contest, 10 rebounds, 6 assists for the forward. Meanwhile, RJ Barrett is scoring over 17.5 points a night himself, 5 rebounds, 3 assists for Barrett. Now, the Knicks have been pretty dominant defensively this year. They currently lead the NBA in points allowed and defending the 3-ball. They give up just 104 points a game, and they hold their opponents to just 33% shooting from beyond the arc. Now, they're taking on a Toronto team who lost 6 out of their last 9, and they also successfully covered the point spread in only 22% of those 9 contests. Toronto's top scorers may not play today. Siakam and Van Fleet are questionable. Meanwhile, Lowry, Watson, and Harris, they're all questionable as well. The Raptors have really struggled on the road this season. Winners of just 10 out of 28 road games. They're also dead last in the NBA in road offensive rebounding. Now, total-wise, Toronto's last 3 straight got over the number, 60% to the over in their last 10. The Raptors are officially 18-10 to the over as the official road team. Meanwhile, 3 out of New York's last 4 got over the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward the New York Knicks -3 and the over 216. All right, next ball game. We're still in the 8 o'clock slate here. I'm talking about Spurs versus the Mavericks, 8 p.m. East. The Dallas Mavericks are -6, totals 220.5. Now, the Mavs won 6 out of their last 7, 6-1 against the spread in those 7 ball games. The Mavs are currently 7 games above 500. And they played some pretty good defense this year. They're in the top 5 in defensive field goal percentage, top 10 in points allowed. Dallas gives up just 109 points per game. Luka Doncic is scoring 28.5 points per contest, 8 rebounds, 8 assists for the big point guard. Meanwhile, Kristaps Porzingis is dropping over 20 a night himself, along with 9 rebounds. They're taking on a Spurs team who's been playing some really bad basketball right now. San Antonio's on a 5-game losing streak, just 2-8 straight up in their last 10. Now, Deng and Lyles are out. Bates Diop is questionable. San Antonio's in the bottom 10 in scoring, bottom 3 in defensive rebounding. Now, total-wise, San Antonio's 70% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward the Dallas Mavericks -6 and the over 220.5. All right, next ball game, still in the 8 o'clock slate. I'm talking about Bulls T-Wolves. A lot of games on a Sunday here today. Bulls T-Wolves, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. The Chicago Bulls are -4, totals 231. Chicago's won 3 out of their last 4 ball games. One of those contests, that was an 8-point victory over Brooklyn. Now, the Bulls have also done a nice job covering the point spread lately as well. They're 5-1 against the spread in their last 6. The Bulls are one of the better road covering teams in the association right now. They're 18-7 against the spread when they travel. Good for 72% in that particular category. The Bulls also do a really nice job crashing the boards. They're in the top 5 in offensive rebounding on the road, top 5 in defensive rebounding as well. Zach LaVine is scoring 27.5 points per contest, 5 rebounds, 4 assists for the guard. Meanwhile, Lauri Markkanen is scoring 16 points per contest himself, along with 5 rebounds. Now, the Bulls score 116 points a night when they travel. They also make nearly 50% of their field goals away from home as well. They're taking on a Minnesota squad who lost 7 out of their last 10. And they currently find themselves 27 games below 500. Now, Malik Beasley's still out indefinitely. Noel is questionable. Minnesota's won just 8 of 25 on their home court. And they give up 118 points a game. Now, total-wise, Minnesota's last 2 straight got over the line. No real surprise there, as they've been failing defensively. They're also 3-1 to the over in their last 4. Meanwhile, the Bulls saw their last 2 straight get over the total themselves. 14-11 to the over in their road games. I'm going to lean toward the Chicago Bulls -4 and the over 231. All right, next ball game, guys. We're in the 10 o'clock slate now. I'm talking about the Heat versus the Blazers, 10 p.m. East. The Miami Heat's -1 on the road here. Totals 222, juice to the under. Despite a really nice run here recently, we're still looking at a Miami squad who's playing just 500 basketball on the road. The Heat's continuously struggled to put points on the board all year long. They're in the bottom 5 in road scoring, bottom 3 in road three-point percentage. They score just 104 points a game away from their home court. And they also make only 31% of their three-pointers in that same category. They're taking on a Portland squad who's amongst the best scorers in the NBA right now. The Blazers are in the top 5 in points per game. They're also in the top 10 in shooting the three ball. Damian Lillard is dropping 29 points a game, 4 rebounds, 7 assists for the starting guard. Meanwhile, Gary Trent Jr. is scoring 15 points a game himself. The Blazers also lead the NBA in home free throw percentage. They're making over 84% of their free throws as a team. When it comes to the total in this one, Portland saw 4 out of their last 5 stay under the posted number. 14 and 12 of the under at the Moda Center. Meanwhile, the Heat's 14 and 10 to the under as the official road team. I'm going to lean toward the Portland Trailblazers +1 and the under 222. With that, guys, we're going to dive into our next and final matchup of the show. It is going to be Pistons versus the Clippers, 10 o'clock Eastern tip-off. The Clippers are -11, numbers 216. LA's on a 4-game winning streak, 8-2 straight up in their last 10. LA's done a terrific job covering the point spread, despite several double-digit numbers. They're 8-2 against the number in their last 10 ball games, 18-11 against the spread on their home court. And despite the absence of Kawhi Leonard and Serge Ibaka here today, we're still looking at a Los Angeles squad who's got Paul George in the lineup here today. George is scoring over 22.5 points per contest, 6 rebounds, 5 assists for the guard. Meanwhile, Marcus Morris is scoring over a dozen a night himself, along with 4 rebounds. LA leads the NBA in shooting the three ball. They're drilling 42% of their three-pointers at the Staples Center. They're taking on a Detroit squad who may have to go to work here tonight without their leading scorer, Jeremy Grant. He's battling a knee injury. Meanwhile, Ellington and Magruder, they're all listed as questionable as well. Detroit's really struggled away from the Little Caesars Arena this year. They've won just 7 of 29 as the official road team. The Pistons are also averaging just 107 points a night. Now, total-wise, Detroit's last 2 straight stayed under the line. 4 out of LA's last 6 stayed under the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward the LA Clippers -11 and the under 216. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our quick pick recap powered to you by my Patreon website. I like Denver -7, under 221.5. Cleveland +6.5, over 228. Orlando +8.5, under 224. Indiana +3, under 233. New York Knicks -3, over 216. Dallas Mavericks -6, over 220.5. Chicago Bulls -4, over 231. Portland +1, under 222. Before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are hitting at 67% in our last $15.99 daily best plays on my Patreon website. We're also hitting at 71% in our last 35 extra daily pick tier package plays on that Patreon page as well. I'm going to lean toward the LA Clippers -11 and the under 216. And with that, guys, we're going to hop into some shout-outs to our top 10 YouTube commenters over the past couple of days or so. Shout out to John Rodriguez, Cool Kids TV, C. Dale Jimenez, Daniel Robb, Houston Gilliland, Dope Boy Fresh. Shout out to Belma Omanovich, Renisha Brown, Mike Ernest, and last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to my good friend, Lori Bauer. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you guys decide to get a package here today, just keep in mind, Patreon's going to bill you the day you sign up, and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a membership today on Patreon, you're going to get access to that content all the way through the end of April. Most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Hopefully you enjoyed the special guest appearance as well. And with that, guys, happy Sunday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.